Welcome to Giants Nation. I'm your host, Bobby Skinner, here with my co-host, the Football Grump, and we've got ourselves a Giants-Broncos preview. Coming off of a Thursday night win against the Eagles, a 10-day break to enjoy a victory. And this Broncos team is going to be difficult, right? We're going to break it all down. Defensively, they're an issue defensively. Offensively, not so much, but they're not, they're not incapable, right? It's not an offense to just blink at. But I'm fired up for this matchup. I already was, just to be like, all right, let's see what this Giants team is really made out of. Um, but also now, I'm just invested in Andrew Thomas versus Nick Benito, right? Nick Benito, Broncos fans are running their mouth, Giants fans are running it back. But Nick Benito gets on Twitter and talks about a fan base never been delusional and then deletes the tweet later. I'm ready for Andrew Thomas versus Nick Benito. I'm ready for this game. Grump, we'll get into all of it. But I know I just mentioned that Andrew Thomas versus Nick Benito. And Nick Benito is one of the few guys who just lines up on one side. So we're going to get that matchup. Unless he's scared. They might switch sides. But for Jackson Dart against this defense, and we'll get into all of it. If he plays bad, I'll be honest, I'm kind of going to brush it off a little bit. We're going to talk about it, we're going to analyze it, and then brush it off individually as a game, and then wait for more evidence to see what he is. If he does decent but has some bad moments, I'm gonna be like satisfied with that. If he actually just plays really well and the Giants win this game, I might become like just full bloom. Let's go. We've got our franchise quarterback.
What's up, Bobby? Yeah, so doing great. Nice, long, relaxing week coming off of it's very easy to be relaxed when you come off of a Thursday night victory against a division rival with a 5 touchdown performance. Never scored 30 points. Broncos couldn't be me. Anyway, nice and relaxed. I'm excited for this one because this is a true test. You go against the Eagles. Thursday night does make it a little bit weird. Jalen Carter not playing because he's scared of grass or whatever makes it a little bit weird. Kenyon Mitchell going down halfway in that game makes it a little bit fluky too. So, I mean, there are some asterisks that you can put along there, and this is a true test. I mean, this is a good team. This is a 4-2 team, first in the AFC West. Um, I know I'm joking around that they haven't scored 30 points yet, but I mean, this is an explosive offense. It's Sean Payton. They're doing what they do, and it is an incredible pass rush. This is going to be an issue, and this is going to be a huge test for Jackson Dart specifically. Like you said, if he comes out of this game looking as confident, poised, and productive, not even as productive, confident, and poised as he was on Thursday night, but any of those combination of those three adjectives at the end of this game with a win, it is really easy to buy high on Jackson Dart going forward, especially when you consider, and we'll get into this too, but doesn't really look like Darius Slayton's going to play again. No Malik Neighbors again. A run blocking offensive line that's not great. A run defending defensive line that's not really great. I mean, there's a lot of things that he has to battle uphill. And again, a tough environment. Mile Ohio does have its altitude thing, allegedly. Not something I experienced when I went out there in 2017, but I know other people do. I also wasn't running sprints. But it is definitely loud there. I can say that. And that is a raucous crowd. They do this thing where they just stomp on the ground and it's like the stampede or whatever. That shit is loud and it's pretty crazy. He seems like an unfazed kind of guy in those surroundings. So we'll see Jackson Dart put to the test this week.
Yeah, it should be a fun matchup. So let's get into this first. This episode was brought to you by some special people. We got RJ Vincent. He's better than RJ Harvey. I'm just gonna say it. Rohan Gupta. There it is. Hayden Hanger. That's what we're gonna he's like the hang gliders. He's a hanger. Michael McKechnie or McKechnie. It's not McMustardney, it's McKechnie. Martin Green, my first ever customer when I had a pool service, name was Martin, and his pool's green, and I fixed it. Brandon Mohan, maybe him and Rohan are two friends, Rohan Mohan, and then be Brandon Gupta. Matthew Mazzachetti, he's a pizza person, and then John Runyon's Bunions. I guess that's his real name. Grump, who are these special people?
These special people went to patreon.com/GiantsNation and signed up for one of 2 tiers so that they could get awesome things like stickers from you, Bobby Skinner, in the mail. They also get entered into a free t-shirt raffle every single month, and they get access to watch episodes like these as they're being recorded live with us, and they get access to crucial weekly game tape breakdowns that you do on Patreon only. They'll be glad they did.
Be glad you did. All right, so let's get into the Giants offense versus the Broncos defense. The Broncos defense is second in points per game allowed at 15.8 points per game. And the pass rush is legit. You know, their passing game, they're third in yards, first in EPA per play, first in net yards per attempt. They simply get after it in the pass rush department. And I responded too because I usually save my preview tweets and I'll schedule them for Friday, but I put out one about their sack totals. Um, and they're impressive, but there has been an argument, well, they haven't played any good teams. Okay, but they were first in sacks last year, and they led the league by 9. They have 30 sacks this year, which is first in the NFL. If you take away their 9-sack game that they had last week against the Jets, they're still number 1. Like, they are dominating in that category, and it's not just sacks. You know, they're averaging 5 sacks, 5 quarterback hits, and 14 pressures per game. And I wanna compare the Giants and the Broncos pass rush to, like, show you how productive and relentless they are, because the Giants pass rush has been good this year. They have 3 edge rushers who are in, like, the top 20 of total pressures. The Broncos have 30 sacks, the Giants have 13. So, hey, sacks are the most important thing, but they have more than double. They have 32 quarterback hits, the Giants have 26. They have 85 hurries, the Giants have 74. And again, the Giants have 3 guys at the top. The Giants have a good pass rush. And so what that means is that they're not, when I say they have 5 sacks, 5 quarterback hits, and 14 pressures per game, that doesn't mean that they're having 24 different plays where one of those results are happening. It means they're rushing together, right? They're an all 11 defense, and I'll mention that phrase with their run defense as well too. Like, it's not just one guy winning. It's one guy winning and then another guy finishing, or 2 guys winning at the same time, and that's driving into someone who may not even be winning at that moment. Um, and so, like, I'll be honest, like, this isn't me just talking trash and being loving Andrew Thomas, because it is true. But I'm not stressed about Nick Benito versus Andrew Thomas. I'm really not. Um, I think Andrew Thomas can handle him fairly well. Can Nick Benito get a play or 2? Absolutely. But I've watched Andrew Thomas go up against top edge rushers, and guys maybe give him a hard time here or there, but never look overwhelmed. Nothing will be like the Myles Garrett battle last year where they just left him one-on-one on an island all game long. Um, and the guys who have had success are Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett, and those guys are better than Nick Benito. Where the stress comes is that it is a handful to handle him, so there's gonna be times where he does kinda get around the corner. He doesn't beat you around the corner, but he gets around the corner, and the rest of their guys, like, they pressure up the middle with their blitzes, with Zach Allen, Jonathan Cooper, right? Being an unbiased eye, Jonathan Cooper should have the matchup advantage against Jermaine Illuminor. And also, by the way, that's who they're going to match up. These guys don't switch sides. Also, Nick Benito is going to take advantage of every time you give him a matchup on a tight end or a running back, or you try and trap block him. That's where a lot of his sacks have come from, is taking advantage of those plays. You run play action, he's not going to bite on it, and he's going to try and get up. If they have 2 linebackers in the A gap, you have to, for an offensive line, it's like, all right, I'm responsible for the innermost man, and that innermost man backs out. Well, you're a half step behind, and Nick Benito will make you pay for that. So it's not that there's 1 or 2 guys taking shots at the quarterback. It's they have 2 guys pressuring, another guy finishing, and it makes it hard for the quarterback to run. Um, their blitzes are pretty impressive, and they tie it with their coverage really well. Like, it is a lot to handle for Jackson Dart and this offensive line. Like I said, I am not worried at all about the Andrew Thomas Nick Benito matchup. If he gets 1 sack and 1 pressure, he'll tweet out the video of his sack or whatever. But in reality, Andrew Thomas let the Giants offense operate well. It's the rest of the 4 guys and the running backs and the tight ends that I'm worried about.
This is a really, really complete defense, and it's especially focused right around the box, right? So Nick Benito's got that speed. I agree with you. I feel comfortable with the left side of our line. We have our accomplished guard, our accomplished tackle. Those two guys work well together. They're veterans. They communicate well. Not a lot of mental errors there. And there's a lot of strength. And Andrew Thomas is the best player on the offense right now, period. Without Malik Neighbors, there's no question. I do think that it's really important that they slow down this pass rush because, like you said, it's not just Nick Benito. It's not just Jonathan Cooper. It's everybody. This is a really, really talented team. They like to blitz a lot. It's the first test for Jackson Dart where guys are really going to be blitzing at a less rate than they did last year, but still a lot. They're going to throw complicated looks at him. They're going to bail out of blitz looks. They're going to jump in on even front looks. This is going to be a really huge test. And I think that it's going to be really important as an offense for the Giants to do what they did last week, and that's get off to a fast start and then control the game. Do not let them just pin their ears back. Do not let them play with a lead. I'm not saying they have to win the toss and receive and score on the first drive, but they have to score early. They have to score touchdowns, and they have to nullify the pass rush by keeping them honest. You cannot let them get in a situation where they can just pin their ears back and come flying downhill.
Yeah, they will win that matchup if that's the situation that you get in. And the reality is, like, Zach Allen is pretty damn good in the middle, right? Like, there's a couple of things the Giants haven't faced that they're going to face this week. It's really an interior rusher that is really good. Jalen Carter getting injured last week helped. Brian Brzee had a really good game against the Giants interior, and then week 1, the Chargers didn't have any of those guys in the middle. And they haven't faced a team that stacks the box like the Broncos do. So we'll get into that part in a minute. But like that's what I'm worried about. Again, Nick Benito is who we're shit talking. By the way, Kayvon is tweeting at him. Abdul Carter is tweeting at Jonathan Cooper.
I love this. It's been a while since we could even do this.
It's Thursday, and I'm like, just get me to Sunday. Just get me to Sunday. Because if we win, I am losing my mind. Like I'm gonna have a million tweets. I've been. You know how long it's been since I bookmarked another fan base's tweets. I'm ready to go. I don't know if it's the Andrew Thomas disrespect specifically. Oh, and Jonathan Cooper, by the way. I know we're getting way off track. But I'm gonna.
Oh, is this the necklace thing?
Yeah. So let me bookmark it.
I didn't think this was that incendiary, but the necklace being. Yeah, go ahead.
It's just ammo though. It's just ammo. And then Broncos fans, and I know Broncos fans are doing it. Like let me just play the clip first. Let me turn my volume up. Yeah, I mean, so the question is, what's the challenge of him that you what have the challenges that you've seen of him on tape, and how do you keep him in the pocket?
He's a young guy. He's feeling himself a little bit. He's out there running around. He's got the chain on. He's dancing. It's like everybody needs something. So well, we've went against QBs who have ran around in the pocket and have try to do stuff with their legs. So ain't nothing we haven't seen.
So again, it's
First of all, who?
John. What do you mean?
Yeah,
What quarterback they face like that?
Jalen Hurts, maybe.
Yeah, he may have been talking last year, or whatever. But regardless, like that's taking us that like people don't be dense. That is taking a shot. Which hey, if I'm a Broncos fan, I'm saying yes, it is a shot. Handle it. Be about it on Sunday, right? And if I had the Broncos defense, I'd be confident like that, right? If I'm a Broncos fan, I'm encouraging. That is shit talk. It may not be the most, black and white, but like it's a veiled shot. They asked about how do you handle him in the pocket, and he talks about his jewelry and his dancing and stuff, and everybody's needs something, his swagger, or whatever. That's not talking about him as a football player. Which again, talk your shit, but just again, Sundays when we play the game and we see. This game needs to be like physical, right? Like you got to be going after them, and I guess that plays into it a bit. Well, I want to get back talking about their blitzes. This is where the Giants got to prove themselves a little bit too, right? Not just Jackson Dart, right? And again, like I said, if Jackson Dart plays bad in this game, I am brushing it off a little bit because it's the Broncos defense. But Another thing the Giants haven't seen since Jackson Dart has started at quarterback is they've played these split safety too high looks. The Broncos don't do that, right? They like to put the guys in the box. They have Tufunga, the safety, who gets downhill quickly and plays the run. He's a very physical player, and they are smart with their run game. They are all 11, right? We talk about the Giants being like, oh, did this guy do the wrong thing? And this lets it. No, they don't do that. They all, when they see the run play, they follow it the correct way. Everyone's doing their job. Zach Allen is a guy who wins and then using Shane Bowen's words changes the math and now beats a guy and makes it hard for the running back to, make a play. That's where the 2 tight end sets, putting Bellinger at fullback, that's where that stuff has to work this week. Like, it can't just be a part of your offense. It has to work. And it has worked the last few weeks, but it needs to really work this week because that's a part of not letting this team pin them back. It's not to say we can't have any success as a passing offense, but don't allow them to get in rhythm as a pass rush.
Yeah,
And you're not double A gap blitzing when you got a tight end and a fullback, or 2 tight ends and a fullback on the field. And I'm calling Bellinger the fullback.
So one thing that we've seen from Jackson Dart in previous weeks was a failure to identify a blitzer on 2 separate occasions that has gotten his clock cleaned. I think one time was overturned by penalty. So it became like a non-stat, but it's still something he noticed, and that's gonna be a challenge for him, is to identify blitzes. And I thought that specifically in the Eagles game, he did a much better job. There was a concerted effort on hard count and identifying blitzers and seeing who is coming and who is staying. It's not really the same kind of amount of blitzes, but it's a step in the direction. And with Jackson Dart, it's going to be a week to week on what is he getting better at, et cetera. Where do we see improvement? Little things like that. I don't mean large, sweeping generalizations on who he is as a player on a week to week basis, but just little things. Does he learn from mistakes? Excuse me. So I think that's going to come into play really, really big in this game. And like you said, one thing that we haven't talked about at all is I don't think John Michael Schmitz is going to play this game. So now you have a huge human being like DJ Jones right in the middle on Austin Schlottman. You have a guy like Zach Allen. So that's going to be, if the middle of the pocket absolutely collapses, how much can Jackson Dart survive in a pocket when you have speed rushers like Jonathan Cooper and Nick Benito on the outside, where Andrew Thomas and Jermaine Illuminor may not lose their rep or whatever you want to call it. But because of the collapse of the pocket in the middle, he kind of has to wind up running into a sack.
And that's what, again, part of my worry with Jackson Dart is like these teams that they've played recently don't really blitz. They play from split safety, and you have Andrew Thomas not just winning, but dominating, right? Where I think he's going to win versus Nick Benito, but like Nick Benito's going to work inside on him a couple times. He's going to get around the corner at 9-10 yards of depth a couple times, right? But like those will still be wins on the paper, but like it's not going to be the same the way it was before. And like I said, they send those double linebacker cross dog blitzes, or they just show them in the A gap. And when they're playing man coverage, like they have one guy in the middle of the field, and they make it hard for the quarterback to scramble and rush, right? Because there's a lot, you make a guy miss, and there's just 3 guys sitting there at the line of scrimmage ready for you. And again, it's an all 11 defense. That's what makes it work so well, is it's not just, a couple guys being star players and taking advantage of bad offensive alignment. They all work together very well. So like Dart's got to play from the pocket a little bit. And like I was mentioning with the running game, the under center stuff, the play action out of under center has to be on the menu for Jackson Dart this game, right? It has to be. They tried doing it against the Saints, and one, the Saints didn't respect it because the Giants didn't put much under center running game on tape, number 1. Number 2, that's how the Saints play it. And then number 3, when it was there, Jackson Dart did a bad job, right? The play that he fumbled on should have been an easy throw to, I can't forget which receiver it was, but it should have been an easy throw. He's got to have that one down. But the Giants did put that on film, right? They ended the game last week on it, where they just got under center, put Bellinger at fullback, Manhurts and Theo Johnson at tight end, and just ran the ball. Ran zone, ran power. Ran zone, ran power. But you got to have the play action off the top of that, because the reality is, as much as we just talk about the pass rush and all that the Broncos do, the biggest disadvantage, honestly, for the Giants is the receivers in this game because they do like to play man. They've been playing a little more zone the past couple weeks. I think that might be a little matchup based on Jalen Hurts and Justin Fields, but maybe that's something they do. But even when they're in zone, I think they communicate very well, much better than what the Eagles were doing last week. And Patrick Surtain's going to win no matter who he goes up against, essentially, this week. But Riley Moss is the guy that you can go against. But the issue is if they put Patrick Surtain on Lil Jordan Humphrey, I just don't expect Jalen Hyatt and Bo Collins to get real wins against Riley Moss on a consistent basis, who's their other outside corner. Again, you can try and get some deep shots against him, but just like, hey, like what's beat Riley Moss is like dig, slant, out route. That's the type, this the basic routes that he has struggled with. I know Wandale should be a big part of this versus man or zone. I think he's going to have a huge part in all of this. But our outside receivers are at a huge disadvantage most weeks, but especially this week.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Jalen Hyatt, it's going to be, and this sounds just pathetic, but I'm not trying to throw shit, but it's going to be for some defensive pass interference because I don't think that he's going to win a lot. I think that Riley Moss is somebody that you can get feeling uncomfortable. I think if you start to pick on him, I think he can start to get grabby. Patrick Surtain is a grabby guy by nature, but if they're going to let guys play, it's just, I wouldn't even look in that direction half the time. Jackson Dart's done a good job in the last week of spreading the ball around, right? So you spread around to Theo Johnson, Wandale Robinson, Little Jordan Humphrey. There was plenty to go around. Jalen Hyatt had plenty of quick outs where they were kind of picking on Keely Ringo. So I think that they'll find a way to pick on Riley Moss. It's just a matter of can they get chunk plays out of picking on him? And I'm not entirely sure that that's going to be very easy. This is and also Hufanga plays with his hair on fire.
Yeah, he does.
I'm not really sure how good of a player is, but he's playing at 100 miles an hour. So he's going to come flying in, and I think he'll get some penalties at times in the pass game and in coverage. But I think more often than not, what he does is disrupt the play.
I love Hufanga, and he's a perfect fit for this defense, right? He's not a perfect fit for every defense, but this is one of those Broncos signings I loved. But at the same time, when I talk about like the under center play action, like you got to take advantage of a guy that plays like that, right? If they're playing zone coverage, like try and set up some double moves to take advantage of their aggressive guys. So I agree with you. Like, I'm not really looking to get explosives against Riley Moss. It would just be, hopefully you get Little Jordan Humphrey and you could just get some 3rd and 5 conversions against him or first downs, keep you on schedule. So, I mean, do you have anything else on their defense? I mean, we spent a lot of time on that, but I'm freaking fired up. Like,
one last thing, if you
feel
get
like the game's starting in 10 minutes for me.
Yeah. One last thing, if you get ahead and then you're in the 4th quarter and it's looking like we're going to win this game, just one Scattaboo leveling of Jonathan Cooper or Nick Benito, just as the icing on the cake.
Headhunt. Headhunt. I'm serious, dude. Sean Payton knows a little bit about that. Like, after their asses. And that's the thing is I don't want Cam Scattaboo blocking any of their defensive ends one-on-one because he will win. He will lose that.
Yes.
But hey, nothing to stop you from
as a chip blocker, I think that he can be something that helps for sure.
Nothing that's just honestly first play of the game. Why can't the first play of the game is having Cam Scattaboo, Andrew Thomas blocking him, and then just let Cam Scattaboo go full speed. Just get under his chin, full speed. Make him think he's getting around the corner on Andrew Thomas. Like,
I'm with you. I'm with you. Set the tone with that one.
I'm with you. I'm ready. All right, let's talk about their offense. So we just put a lot of flowers on their defense, and rightfully so. Their offense is not very good this year so far. They're 21st in scoring, 15th in yards, 20th in EPA per play. But I do think it's a little bit of strength versus strength and weakness versus weakness with this matchup because their pass protection is very good. Bo Nix is the least pressured quarterback in the NFL. Part of that has to do with his play style. Part of that is the quick game. But he's only been sacked six times in 6 games. But I think from a pass rush standpoint, you got to look for your matchups. Mike McGlinchey, I think, is the weak link as their starter on that at right tackle. but they do a good job to help him and not let his bad plays turn into disaster plays. But they have the backup left guard in for Ben Powers after Matt Parrott was injured last week. So that can be a weak point. So, like, they pick up stunts very well. Like, they're a very disciplined offensive line. Their guys do a good job. But you just for the Giants pass rush, you gotta try and find matchups and finish, right? Like, because Bo Nix, I think, is an underrated playmaker with his legs. I think that was underrated from him coming out of Oregon. Um, but you gotta finish when you have those opportunities because he's only been sacked 6 times this season.
I think one of the keys is going to be pressuring through the middle. Like you said, left guard, you're dealing with a backup. I think their center is probably the weakest of a strong group of pass protectors. Um, the Giants haven't gotten a lot of push through the middle so far this year. And it looks like DJ Davidson may not play. Dexter Lawrence hasn't really been Dexter Lawrence so far this year, but I think that Bo Nix has a tendency to drift. He's very good at moving around in the pocket, making plays with his legs, like you said, keeping his eyes downfield, launching the ball too. Like he'll hit chunk plays and explosive plays when he's pressured at times. But where he starts to struggle is when the middle of the pocket collapses in on him. And I feel like I hate doing this where like I have a key point on one side of the ball and then it's the same key point on the other side of the ball. But he really does have a little bit of struggle where he took a really bad sack against the Eagles 2 weeks ago by drifting back way too far, knocked them out of field goal range, I think right before the half. And you're right, this offense isn't that scary. You know, for as last week's game against the Jets was 13-11.
Yeah, so, like, here's the thing is Bo Nix, like, he's only throwing deep 9% of the time, which is 29th out of 36 quarterbacks. And like, okay, but what about the intermediate game? It's actually worse. He's 34th of 38 in intermediate throw rate. And he's not finding much success there either. As a I actually think he's a pretty solid deep passer when he's got a clean pocket and is able to step into it. He can put a beautiful ball on you. Um, but again, he's got 45. Like, it kind of seems like, the Oregon scouting report on Bo Nix, where it's like, there's a lot to like about this guy, but it's like, is he ever pushing you over pushing you to the next level? They run a lot of screens. They check down the ball quite a bit. He has 45 throws behind the line of scrimmage. That is the most in the NFL. But here's the thing is you kind of got to play at him a little bit. I know we've talked about, like, last week, the Giants went into more zone coverage and disguising and stuff. Do that. Absolutely. But Nix is going to handle that fairly well. Like, he's going to hit the quick game underneath. And if you live in zone, what they'll do is they'll try and get their explosives by lulling you to sleep with the quick game handing underneath. And then they'll try and run like a post wheel or whatever. Like, they got a touchdown on that against the Jets where they just had the wheel route wide open, getting the safety or the outside corner to buy. I can't remember which one now, though. No, I'm envisioning. I can't remember which player it was. But if you play man coverage, which the Giants do quite a bit, you got to be good, though, because their wide receivers don't instill a ton of fear in you. Cortland Sutton's is a very good player. All 3 of their other guys, I think, can get open with, Troy Franklin. Marvin Mims is more of a deep threat. Pat Bryant is pretty good at the release. So, like, their wide receivers are saucy with their releases, but they're also not going to pull away. So you kind of, have to be patient, right? Deonte Banks cannot play this week. Congratulations on the babies. But he can't play this week. But you have to be patient and physical, which, again, is hard to do. But their receivers are not the ones, even if they win, are just going to pull away from you and make you pay. And the other thing about Bo Nix is, I think when he's facing man coverage is when he's at his worst, because that's when you just got to, like, trust it and throw it down the field. And if there's pressure, his feet are unsettled. The ball is inaccurate. If it isn't in a clean wind, that's where he likes to scramble quite a bit. On third down, he's not going to push the limit. Their 24th and third down conversion rate, doesn't want to hang in there. So that's where I'm like, I want to see some blitzing. Not necessarily because I think I'm going to bring Bo Nix down, but I want to force Bo Nix to play fast against man coverage. If you haven't played fast against zone coverage, he's going to win. You haven't played fast against man coverage, that's where the inaccuracies can show up a little bit, and you can get off the field.
Yeah, it kind of feels a little bit like last week was a really good warm up for what they need to do this week. So they need to dominate the line of scrimmage too. Collect and tackle things in the open space when they go out into the flats with running backs, and anything quick and underneath. Gather up, and swarm to the ball. Also, they need to stop the run, and I'm pretty worried about Dobbins just kind of having a huge game, and all of this talk about pressuring Bo Nix just becomes a wash because we can't stop the run at all. So that's going to be something that is they have to dominate the line of scrimmage. That's where they have to win. They're going to have to live and breathe with the just the mistakes that are probably going to happen when you trust your corners to be good corners. And you have guys like Paulson Adebo, who you have good plays and bad plays with, and Cordell Flott, who had an interception last week that was nearly returned for a touchdown, and also a completely busted coverage on Devonta Smith. So that's the kind of thing that they're going to have to continue to do in this game. They're going to have to live out on islands at times. They're going to have to bring blitzes. They're going to have to pressure. They have to win at the line of scrimmage and pressure Bo Nix and stop the run.
Yeah. That's where this offense, another thing I'm a little like when I talk about like the opposite side, where I'm like the Giants' run game has gotten much better, especially under Jackson Dart. I think they're the second rush. Like if you put their rankings wise, they'd be second in the NFL in rushing yards per game once Jackson Dart took over. I think this rushing offense, I know last week, Saquon Barkley, the rush offense from last year, they hadn't had an explosive run from Saquon Barkley all year. Like, they weren't playing as a good rushing offense, the Eagles. The Broncos can be that, right? They're 7th in the NFL in rushing, with J.K. Dobbins being 7th in rushing on his own. And they do have some fullback game where they run up the middle, and they are good at running up the middle too. But they're a team that likes to get outside the tackles, right? I was watching the Jets film, and I was like, maybe I'm watching too much Giants film, but I'm surprised to see a team just get outside the tackles so often, whether it's toss, outside zone, and that's where the Giants' run defense really struggles. Like, it drives me nuts every time Shane Bowen says it when he says outside of the explosive runs, but it is a little bit true with the Giants' run defense, and that's where you get the explosives, is when you need Darius Moasow to get sideline to sideline, whether it's Tyler Newman taking a bad angle, Deonte Banks jumping inside of a block, Paulson Adebo missing a tackle. That's where you got to be dialed in, because you got to know what your responsibilities, get to your spots, and you have to be trusting the other 10 guys out on the field. And some guys up front just got to win too. Stop them from getting outside on the edges. Brian Burns, Kayvon Abdul.
Yeah, I mean, there's some instances too where I don't think it's the same guy every time, where just our edges are just jumping inside and leaving the edge completely open and breaking contain. Cordell Flott is not great in space. I mean, really the only guy on the outside that can tackle really well is Drew Phillips. And even that's sort of hit or miss, right? I guess at worst though, like, he'll at least hold a guy up for the rest of the
Phillips
guys.
is bad at the open field tackles. He's physical, and within a confined space makes big. I mean, he has 4 tackles for loss. Like,
Right.
it's basically pretty true to his report coming out of college, where it's like physical, likes to hit, can bring a guy down in the open field. It's kind of like his coverage style too. He can be over aggressive at times, and it puts him behind as an open field tackler.
Are you worried about the linebackers dealing with Evan Ingram?
Evan Ingram, I know he had a touchdown last week or whatever.
2 weeks ago.
He hasn't been doing much for the Broncos. He has like 140 yards. And the Giants, I think, put their safeties on the tight ends more than they do their actual linebackers. So no, I'm not too worried about Evan Ingram.
Yeah, I mean, that's my only other thing.
We're playing him again.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I think it's going to probably be somebody like Dane Belton in coverage on him, who's played a pretty decent year. Yeah, I guess I'm not too worried about Evan Ingram either. But I just like everything else, it's one of those things where we're just sort of depleted, right? Linebacker spot was already a weak group. We've lost Micah McFadden. Right now, the defensive tackle group is a little banged up. I think Roy Robertson-Harris and DJ Davidson are banged up. Roy Robertson-Harris was limited. DJ Davidson still hasn't practiced. So it's just another one of those things where we start getting weaker and there are spots that can be exploited over the middle.
Yeah. All right. Do you got anything else before we bring on Danny King?
I don't think so. I'm ready for the DK.
All right. Let's take a break and bring on Danny King. All right. We now welcome on Danny King for weather and trivia. Danny, we're in the mountains this week. What's the weather looking like in Denver, Colorado?
Well, I mean, before I say that, I mean, I've been getting ripped to shreds basically every week because was my weather prediction wrong? Sure. I mean, life happens, but I was right last week. Danny Guarantee, guess what? It came through. It came through. So I'm not hearing a lot of thank you, Danny, for redeeming yourself and correctly predicting the weather at a Giants win. I didn't hear that part in the speech.
Yeah, but you had it was a very short notice. So it was like the easiest weather prediction of the week because it was a Thursday night football game.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'm so confident again. I'm going to make another Danny Guarantee this week. Another Danny Guarantee. The weather will be 100% accurate. It's going to be 76 degrees Sunday in Denver. It's October and we're almost at 80. What are we doing here? Let's get a little bit of cooler weather in these parts, but perfectly sunny. You might got a passing cloud that's going to bring a little bit of shadow. But either way, if you're going to the game, it's going to be warm, beautiful, no rain, tad bit of wind, but nothing that will knock you off your feet, less than 10 miles per hour. So we're vibing on this game. If you're going, you're going to enjoy some beautiful weather.
Great fighting weather.
Danny, if it's 75 degrees, you're fired.
Now we're together as one this week. We're all working as one. We're all because I'm so freaking.
Yeah,
if the Giants let me down, think about where we were on our most recent preview pod, right? I pulled out the 2-0 game. Hilarious. It was like, and then they just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. But it's not even that. They win versus the Eagles. Then we get into like shit talking with the Broncos, and it's like this is what I crave. I crave wins and shit talking, and you're giving it to me all in a 10-day period. So what do we got for trivia this week?
I will say, imagine the Giants were home on Sunday during that nor'easter. I probably would have said it would have been perfectly sunny, and then fans would have been had just unreal amount of rain dumped on them. Would have been great.
Would have been beautiful. Oh, I'm going to say one more thing. Down this on my head. Grump, what was the game where you're like, I really believe in Eli?
Like in my lifetime?
Yeah. Or maybe like a this is the guy.
I don't know. I guess it probably happened in the 2011 season because maybe
Super Bowl before then.
Well, I mean, not really. He was still kind of. I don't know why. What are you getting?
I'm saying when. Okay, maybe
for me, it was the Miami game in 2011. And that was the start of where every game Eli put it on his back in the fourth quarter for comebacks, and that was one that I was at that I just remember specifically. And from then on, and I mean every single time during the fourth quarter of that Super Bowl in 2011, I guess January 2012, February 2012. I was cool as a cucumber on that final drive. I had no doubt in my mind that they were winning that game. No doubt at all.
Well, maybe you're the harshest quarterback critic of all time, or maybe you misunderstood.
Probably.
Is what I'm saying is like when he was just coming out, like, oh my gosh, we might have the guy here. And for me, it was the 2005 Broncos game. I still, him backpedaling, bam, puts it on a Monty Toomer and they win that game. That was my moment. I would love for Jackson Dart to also have that moment against the Broncos where I'm like, oh my gosh, we didn't just beat a banged up Eagles defense. We just took down the Broncos.
Well, that would be the cosmic bow tying of, Ole Miss quarterback coming in and replacing a veteran, that whole connection to Eli. Yeah.
So, what's our treat? We won the Super Bowl in 2007. You're like, I don't know if we got a quarterback.
Well, I misunderstood. If you meant just like a guy that you can build a team around, then yeah, 2007, I think is probably past when I thought that could happen. I think beating beating Dallas in those playoffs, it was like, oh my God, like this team could go all the way. You know what I mean? Or even that New England game in that year, week 17 of 2017, 2007 for sure. But in terms of like, one of the top quarterbacks in the league at a time when you had some of the best quarterbacks of all time all playing at the same time, for me was in 2011. So I guess I sort of misunderstood your question.
Yeah. Or you're really mean.
Yep.
I believe before I remember where I was when he was drafted, obviously. Danny, what do we got for trivia this week?
Going for the matchup history, pretty meh history among their tied
Yeah, not like a whole
7-7.
Super Bowl played against each other.
Okay, like that I don't really care. No, I'm joking. They're 7-7 against each other. So the winner of this game will take the series lead. That's great. But I'm gonna throw it back to what Grump mentioned, 2017. The Giants were winless going into Denver. They lost Odell Beckham the week prior to his ankle injury. Before I get to the main trivia question, do you know the big transition that happened in that game, 2017?
Mike Sullivan took over play calling.
There we go. Got it right. Big day. Ben McAdoo was so cryptic going into it, but that's besides the point. The New York Giants won 23-10. No one saw it coming. I definitely didn't. I remember that game vividly for some reason. I don't know why. 2 Giants scored a touchdown that day. 2 Giants did. Can you name me the 2 Giants? And I will be fair. One of them was on defense.
Janoris Jenkins and Evan Ingram.
Bobby, do you have anything to add?
Was Orleans Darkwa? I want to say one of them. He wasn't?
I would give it I'm waiting for you to give me another name.
Orleans Darkwa and then Janoris Jenkins.
Grump had it right on the head. It was indeed Evan Ingram and Orleans Darkwa. I just have fond memories of this game, so that's kind of.
I mean Evan Ingram and
Janoris Jenkins. Sorry, yes.
Yeah, the Jenkins one I remembered.
This game I just had fond memories of. I think just after how miserable it was to start the year, how this team basically seemed like it was falling apart, and it still did fall apart. This one game, it kind of just like inspired like a little bit of hope that maybe the Giants can stay afloat, and obviously they did not. But I also remember this game because Al Michaels probably had one of the craziest quotes of all time when he said, "I think the Giants had a worse week than a disgraced movie mogul." I couldn't believe he said that, and we just moved on like it was nothing.
This was kind of an unfair trivia question because I was at this game.
Oh, you were at that game? Oh,
So
that makes it better.
One of my high school friends had moved out to Denver, so I found a way to make that into like, wow, I haven't seen you in a couple of years. Let's also go to this Giants game. So that was the one and only time I went to Denver was in 2017 for that game.
Because 2021, the Broncos won. That wasn't a fun game. I remember that. That was 27-13. 2013, it was 40.
Thanksgiving, I think, 2013, right?
2013 was September 15th.
We lost to them on Thanksgiving, and the head coach, Josh McDaniels, dropped an F-bomb on national TV.
That's great.
I remember that very specific. I think Kyle Orton was the quarterback. That might have been 2009.
Just a weird matchup history. Weird matchup history between these two teams. I mean, and that's a more interesting chapter this week because we now have beef with them. I love having beef with random teams. It's some of my favorite stuff in sports.
Yeah, it's when it just feels better when it's not like Eagles is boring. You're like, yeah, we got beef, whatever.
Yeah, I hate them already.
It's like, yeah, it's just you're just born with that. It's fun to get the random beef. Before we get started, Steelers at Bengals +5.5 Thursday Night Football. I already have mine written down. Listeners, we're both at Steelers -5.5. Danny, what do you got?
Icy hot bowl, love it. I mean, we'll talk about my record last week. I'll go Steelers. The Bengals there. I just don't believe in Joe Flacco. I don't know why we're still doing this.
Grump.
Clean sweep.
All right. Did you guys see the TV?
I have not. I got baseball on.
Steelers are up 7-0.
I don't have it up.
Good to know.
Good. I write mine down before. See, you can't really see, but all written down. All right, so let's get into the fantasy draft. I was going to do my own trivia of like when was the last time the Giants won and all the other NFC East opponent teams lost. And I was going to say I was actually another team that was 0-5. The 2020 Joe Judge Giants beat the Commanders. The Eagles lost to the Ravens, and the Cowboys lost to the Cardinals. And that was Joe Judge's first victory. Tate Crowder had the game-winning touchdown. Andrew Thomas was suspended for the first quarter. And no, we don't have that, Grump. So let's get into the fantasy draft. We have a new leader. Danny King, after a
Haters are mad.
point outing, took the lead. I had a 46-point outing too. But so I am now less than 2 points back, 1.9 points. Grump is 47 points back. Me and Danny were already on pace for record years. We still are. So we got our battle. I think fantasy this year is a true test of it. When you lose Malik Neighbors, it just makes it where the first pick is much harder, right? Like it just makes it very hard. Or the second, like it makes the first round a lot harder. So I do have the first pick this week. And this was a tough one, dude, because like they have their wide receiver one. The Giants don't. They don't even have like Slayton, who could be your number one outside guy. Both running games have been good as of late, but we'll see what happens. So I went someone who I think needs to have a big game. I'm going Wan'Dale Robinson 1-1, right? Like it's a little bit of he might get the PPR scam because of the defense we're playing, so it's a little safe there. But like also if the Giants can win this game, they need Wan'Dale to make more plays, not just have a bunch of catches. So I'm going Wan'Dale Robinson 1-1. So Danny, as you're the new leader, who are you picking with your first pick?
I did not expect you to go Wan'Dale 1-1. I see the PPR, the glitch I do get. I just can't believe we're in a world Wan'Dale's going 1-1.
Also, I usually just keep zero emotion in this. The shit talk kind of has me be like, you know what? I'm not taking a Broncos player first.
That's fair. I respect that. My pick, I want to go. I don't write it down. I want to go Cam. I can't this week. I think the Denver's defense is what on my little fantasy calculations I do here. 89 yards per game is what I read. So not going that. I'm going Courtland Sutton. Broncos #1. Big emotional game as well for Denver this week. They're putting Demaryius Thomas into their Hall of Fame. That's Courtland Sutton's guy. They got chemistry. I feel like he's gonna have a big game for Demaryius Thomas. R.I.P.
Yeah, he was number 2 on my big board. So good pick. All right, Grump, you've got back-to-back picks here.
I'm going to have to crawl my way out of a pathetic last place here. And I'm going to go back-to-back running backs here. I'm going Dobbins and Scatterbo.
I'm going to give you some advice, Grump.
Yeah.
Something we've done over the years. When you have back-to-back picks, you always pick the Giants player first to show your faith in the team.
Oh, I mean, I wasn't necessarily going in an order. If you want me to go in an order, I'll say with my first pick, I'll go Cam Scatterbo, the CTE machine. And with my second pick, I'll go Dobbins, who I think has only a couple more yards than him on the year running.
He's 7th in rushing, so Dobbins should have a decent amount more.
But I mean, he played more games than Cam.
Yeah, per game, okay.
So yeah. Back to Danny.
Thank you for your faith in the team, Grump.
Of course, always.
Danny, who was you taking with your second pick? But we're also going according to the Bobby pick. I did have Dobbins third, but the top
So now
off the board.
Excuse me. The question is, we saw what little Jordan Humphrey was last week. He put up 9 points. What's he going to be again this week? I don't think, was that just like a one and done type situation? Is he going to be the guy going forward? Do the Giants need to trade for a wide receiver because they had this new guy named Little Jordan Humphrey? Let me stop. I'm going to go. He only had 4 points last week. The Denver passing game is making this really difficult. I'm going to go Theo. I still stand by what I said. I still think he could be Dart's little savior when he finds himself in some trouble. And last week was his third lowest game of the year, 4.7. 21 against the Saints, but that was 2 touchdowns. Help it. Let's do it. Let's pick it back up this week, bud.
I'm starting to now, like, one, I thought the Giants all week were going to make a trade for the wide receiver. Now I'm actually starting to believe the Jaylen Waddle stuff, which is crazy.
Jawan Jennings, here we come.
Yeah. That was the first name I heard.
Brandon Cooks incoming.
Yeah. The Saints don't even use him. All right. So I have back-to-back picks here. which would set me up to show some favoritism for the team, but I'm actually going to go 2 Broncos.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to go Troy Franklin. You know, Bo Nix's teammate at Oregon and the Broncos. And then, this won't be the first time I pick this guy in a fantasy draft.
Damn it.
Hello, my friend. We meet again.
Damn it.
From the 2017 draft class, first round pick, Evan Engram. Even though he's not having a very good year, Evan Engram off the board. Danny, now you have your 3rd pick.
I mean, fantasy-wise, 6.9, 13.3, 9.9 in his last 3 weeks. It's really all you could ask for.
I could ask some more.
I mean, when we're just trying to claw our way around right now without Neighbors. RJ Harvey's been kind of putting up some numbers. Do I believe he had 19 in week 4, but the back-to-back 6-point outings? Do I want to go that route again, or do I go with the guy that I kind of just was saying, like, what's he going to be in a little Jordan Humphrey?
It's Lil, not Little.
Oh, it's my apologies. My apologies. Gosh, this is probably what's going to bite me this week. I'm going to go RJ Harvey.
RJ Harvey from UCF. Julian is happy with that pick.
Shout out, Julian.
He was very low on the big board. All right, Grumpy, you have back-to-back picks.
I'm going to show my faith and loyalty to the New York Giants and go with my Giants player first, and that's young Jordan Humphrey. And then I'm going to go Marvin Mims.
Marvin Mims better than Jalen Hyatt. Even crazy if you said that in the 2023 draft previews, but
that's true.
Some people did say that.
Got me 4 points last week. Shout out.
Oh, Jalen Hyatt? Yeah, he had 3 catches for 17. I think someone did buy me a Jalen Hyatt. I was like, don't buy it. Don't spend your money on that. And I think I'm getting a Jalen Hyatt jersey.
Is it at least a Tennessee jersey?
It is.
All right.
Which is a lot cooler.
That's nice. That is
infinitely cooler.
Which I also saw a Tennessee fan, because they're playing Alabama this week, put like a Jeopardy of like F Alabama. But like 2 of the letters that needed to be filled in were A, while also having 2 other A's already filled in. And it's like, this is just great Tennessee education right here. Danny, your final pick.
Oh, God. Oof. Wow.
Yeah, that's not.
Wow.
Your boy is still on the board there, Danny.
Wow.
I'm surprised you're not taking it.
Starting wide receiver technically is on the board.
Am I tripping right now? Who haven't we set?
I mean, we might have just had a huge conversation about it.
I thought it was someone obvious, because I mean that's who I am leaning towards picking. He got me 4 points last week. This might be, I don't know when this trade will eventually happen for a wide receiver, because I feel like someone is coming in. It's just a question of when. Let's do it. Let's have fun this week. Give me Jalen Hyatt again.
It's very risky to take Jalen Hyatt after a game where you had catches in, because historically that means like 2 straight games of 0 catches for 0 yards.
But I really gotta like ring out what we got left in him, because crazy motion, by the way.
Don't do that.
That was horrible. Yeah, I'm just gonna.
I didn't see it.
I'm
starting to see it.
I don't want to talk anymore.
So do you guys think that the outcome of this game influences the wide receiver trade at any point? Like, if they win this game, is that like, are they pushing more chips to the middle on the trade market?
That's
like, does that influence going for Jaylen Waddle over somebody else? You know what I mean?
Here's the reality: is I guess a win over the Broncos would. Where I'm saying, like, if they're trying to do it right now, a loss really shouldn't change it, because the Broncos are really freaking good. If anything, but
I mean, you need a wide receiver anyway. I mean, forget Wan'Dale's expiring contract. Like, you really want to add a 2 to Malik Neighbors' 1, and Neighbors is going to be coming off of an injury.
Well, I feel bad that we should have done this on the mailbag, and you suggested we did, Grump, and I was like, we had to wait, and then it just started eating up like crazy.
We're not talking about specific players, really. I mean,
no, but
this is not the full conversation.
If, like, again, I've become way less of a pick hugger over the years. But if you're going for Jaylen Waddle, you got to give up a second. But at the same time, you're like, if you could get Jaylen Waddle with a second round pick, like, you should do it. But then we have no day 2 picks next year.
But I mean, you think you could still deal somebody like Deontay Banks, right? I think someone would take Deontay Banks out there.
Yeah, for a day 3 or something like that or whatever, you know, a 4th or whatever. So it's I've become much like I've just like, you know what? Because I used to be like, oh, keep everything picks. And I'm like, you know what? Be willing to trade picks for guys that are good players with how many like you know, it's not it's bad process, but like you know, I remember criticizing the Bears for trading a 2nd round pick for Montez Sweat. You know what? They're probably better off. You know, I bet a lot of people criticize the 49ers for trading for Christian McCaffrey. I think that was the right move for them.
I think it influences them, but I just don't see a world where Jaylen Waddle's their guy. I just don't see the Giants going in that type of area.
Why you say that?
The idea of the Giants traded a 2nd round pick, like what Bobby said, they won't have any day 2 picks next year. I just don't see. I mean, maybe like their job's on the line, so they don't care what happens. I just don't see a world where I feel like Jerry Jeudy's more of their type of guy. That's the market I feel like they would be hunting at.
No, I think Jerry Jeudy's the opposite. I mean, he's older. He's not older by much, but he got paid, and Waddle I think is a better player.
I think he's better. I'm not saying Waddle's not. Let me make that clear.
Speaking of necklaces, Jerry Jeudy.
That's one of my favorite combine clips of all time. He's wearing like the star. Do you remember this day, Danny, the Jerry Jeudy necklace at the combine?
I gotta look it up. Oh yeah,
I'll just tell it. He was wearing the Star of David, and they asked him like, "Are you Jewish?" And he's like, "No, but people call me Jew, so I wear the Star of David."
I forgot about that. I did forget about that line.
So listen, Danny, in Buffalo, while Joe Shane was there in 2020, they traded for Stephon Diggs. I think they traded
That was a good
a
point.
1st round pick away for that.
Yeah, they did. Now wide receiver trades are, but again, they also have Malik Neighbors, and it would be weird to like. So then basically Slayton, you're not re-signing Wandale, which again I'll take that trade off. And then so you're basically paying Slayton to not be a starter next year. But again, that's not the worst thing in the world. Again, upgrade the team, right? That's the whole name of the game. I've always said, like with the Slayton conversation, is like I'm sure you can definitely upgrade that position, but they have not been able to. So I'm definitely open to it if it's someone that's part of the long term, right? If they trade freaking for, you know, Jacoby Myers, and it's even then like a day 3 pick for Jacoby Myers isn't terrible. Whatever. All right, I'm taking Daniel Bellinger last.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I derailed that.
So Danny's still in Danny now in first place has Cortland Sutton, Theo Johnson, RJ Harvey, and Jalen Hyatt. Myself 1.9 points back. Wando Robinson, Troy Franklin, Evan Ingram, and Daniel Bellinger. I basically have like guys who are size outliers on my first 3 picks, and then Daniel Bellinger. And then Grump 47 points back. Cam Scattaboo, J.K. Dobbins, Lil Jordan Humphrey, Marvin Mims. A couple people tried to correct this, but it's Scattaboo. It's like, no, how do you correct somebody and be wrong? It's Scattaboo. We learned this right after the draft.
Literally.
All right, time for Giant Factors. I get to go first this week, and I'm excited about it. I could give so many guys the Giant Factor, but I said I trust Andrew Thomas against Nick Bonino, and I do. Jonathan Cooper's a good player. He's talking some shit, but he's a good player, and he's going to be like only on a right tackle. And we just talked about re-signing Jermaine Illuminor. Go out and do well in this game, Jermaine Illuminor. Right, Jermaine Illuminor is a right tackle who will have a bad game here or there, and that doesn't make him a bad player, but he does have some bad games. Go out and handle Edgerrin Cooper, right? Take that shit talk personal. Like he's talking about your quarterback. Take it personal and be a Giant Factor, okay? The interior, I do not have faith in against this Broncos team. Just being real, I don't. But I have faith in my left tackle. My right tackle, do it. Do it. And then let us help out the interior. You guys win. We help out the interior. And that keeps our young quarterback safe. It keeps our young quarterback confident. And it gives us a chance to win. So Jermaine Illuminor, be a Giant Factor. Danny, who is your Week 7 Giant Factor?
Yeah, my one last week almost cost us Pulse of the Debo. That was tough. But this I'm going with another corner. He had that bad coverage lapse we all saw last week. Cordell Flott, when he almost gave up that massive play to Devontae Smith. We're still looking for more consistency out of the secondary, and he's getting more playing time now with the Deontay Banks situation. Him being benched now, having that rotation. So Cordell Flott, the spotlight's solely on you. We need to find someone in the secondary that will step up for us and just continue to make it less of a leaky problem that we got back there. So Cordell Flott, it's as simple as that. You're going to be tasked with some. Bobby's lucky. He's on mute. He's sneezing. Yeah, sorry, Cordell Flott. Tough match. We got tough matchups all around this week. We're gonna need this Denver's defense is gonna be stifle, and we're gonna need to be able to force Denver to punt it like we were forcing the Eagles last week. So Cordell Flott and basically the entire secondary, but I'm picking you, Cordell Flott, since the spotlight solely on you now that we know this rotation is done. Cordell Flott, let's go do something. Pick. Pick. Let's get a pick. Debo didn't do it for me.
Grump, who is your Week 7 Giant factor?
My number one Giant factor was Jermaine Illumina, but I always come prepared with a backup. So my backup Giants factor, I picked him once already. I'm picking him again. You have Nick Bonito, who dominating sack leaderboards. Got Jonathan Cooper kind of saying some shit. Abdul Carter, we're sitting around waiting for you to have your coming out party. We did a whole mailbag thing about when is your counting stats. It's this weekend. Go out there when you're up against Mike McGlinchey, put him in the washing machine, spin him around, get to the quarterback, make Bo Nix throw under pressure, and start getting those counting stats. We're going to see some sacks this week. It's going to be Abdul Carter doing more than just disrupting, doing more than just affecting the play, or throwaways are a result of you getting to the quarterback. No. You're putting Bo Nix on his ass and dirtying up that uniform. Abdul Carter, go be a Giant.
Honorable mention, Austin Schlotman if JMS doesn't play.
Revenge game. There's a lot of people will be listening to this. I have 10 revenge game tweets scheduled for tomorrow.
There we go.
Big day. It's a big day. And don't make fun of the first one. We need to be together as one.
Oh no.
All right, spread picks. Danny, you're still in first place at 27-21. 1-7.
Better than the listeners.
And the last game of the week stopped you from being 0-8. It came down to it, and that was a very close one too. But again, you're still in first place. I jumped to second place with a 4-4 week, and I am at 24-24. Perfectly average. Grump went 2-6. He dropped down to third at 23-25. The listeners went 4-4. They are 21-27 on the season in last place. Rams at Jag. We already did Thursday Night Football. Rams at Jags +3. The listeners represented by Jack are going Rams -3. I like the Rams, but I think the Jags coming off of a loss are just going to keep this game tight. Liam Cohen came from the Rams tree. So I'm going to go Jags +3. Danny, who do you got?
Jaguars second home. Got to consider it. Rams are not arriving in London until Saturday morning. I learned that. So that's
the Jags London home game too. I forgot about that.
Rams are arriving Saturday morning. So we're gonna see if it might be the new method. But so that's why, with all things considered, I'm going the Jaguars. Duval.
Yeah, you gotta pick. That's I always say that you gotta pick the Jags as the first London game. Grump, who do you got?
Going Jags too. You got to pick Jags in England because of the car. You also got to consider Puka. I don't think Puka Nacua is going to play in this game.
To my knowledge, no.
I'm going Jags.
All right. I put this game on for 2 reasons. It's a revenge game for the head coach, and it's an interim head coach game. Patriots at Titans +7. These sons of bitches are really testing me.
Yeah.
They really are, the Titans. One, I called it before the season. I think we might have said it, Grump, on a podcast or maybe on Patreon. We're like, this Titans offense in the preseason looks ugly when it's supposed to boost up. I think they're in for a rough year. I kind of hate what they're doing. Well, they fired Callahan. They're so stupid. They had John Fossil, like the best special team coordinator in the game. I cannot believe Callahan brought him over. He was the perfect interim head coach candidate. You always take the special teams coordinator. There's 3 types of interim coaches you can use. The special teams coordinator, right? Because he's going to treat that job like his life depends on it. It's his opportunity. The former player, jacked up, muscled out white guy who just going to get you fired up, right? Like it has everybody's respect. Shout out Dan Campbell with the Dolphins. Or the older, little bit heavy set, but very wise black coach who's like and who's older, right? Like, Romeo Crennel, even though Romeo Crennel was a different type of player, but like for the Giants to be Andre Patterson. And they just went and took Mike McCoy, a failed head coach for the Chargers. It pissed me off. So, but that being said, I'll always stick to the rule. You have to take their interim head coach. Titans +7. Grump, who do you got?
7's crazy. I'm going Titans.
But here's the other thing is if this was +13 and they didn't have an interim head coach, I'd be picking the Patriots. I think Mike Vrabel's going to come in and try and kick the shit out of them. But I can't go away from the interim head coach. It's not a perfect, but it works more times than not. So you got to go for it. Danny, who do you got?
I believe the interim head coach thing, but you said it. Mike Vrabel wants to kick the shit out of the Tennessee Titans. And 7 is a lot of points. It's a lot of points, but that's why I think Mike Vrabel legitimately might run the score up on them if he has the opportunity.
The Titans is such a terrible organization too. Listeners are going Patriots. They are so frustratingly bad ran, and it was all predictable. The way that they fired they fired Rand Carthon, and they have Chad Brinker, who's their president, but they can't answer if who's actually making. It's just a never ending. Their owner, Amy Adams, is an idiot. Like they're just the worst ran organization in football, which is hard to do, but they really are.
This is probably the biggest test of the interim head coach rule.
Yes, and the Jets tested it last year with Jeff Ulbrich, right? And Jeff Ulbrich wasn't a bad one, but it's like, you don't do the defensive coordinator who's a good defensive coordinator. You let him still do his thing. Yeah, but this is a bad one, but I got to go Titans. Eagles at Vikings +1.5. What do you have in this one, Grump?
I'm going Eagles on this one.
Oh, me too. I think J.J. McCarthy's back. And I just think Vic Fangio is going to do well against the Vikings defense. They'll have Jalen Carter back. So I think the Eagles get it back on track a little bit here. So
I still don't think it looks good, but I think they win.
Yeah. So I'm going Eagles. The listeners are going Eagles. Danny, who do you got?
I mean, I could be dead wrong. I'm under the impression they're starting Carson once again this week. I could be wrong.
I could be wrong.
Because I read he's back at practice, but they're keeping it very close to the chest. So I don't quote me on that, but that still doesn't affect what I think. I think the Eagles, they'll try to treat this as a get right game. They might not look fully right, but I still think they're still a better team than the Vikings, and they're getting the guys like Jalen Carter back, like we mentioned.
So you got the Eagles?
Yeah.
All right, Carson Wentz revenge game. I kind of want to change my pick now. All right, this is our Colts. This is our team. We bleed blue. Colts at Chargers -1.5. Listeners got Chargers. Danny, who do you got?
I mean, I can't pick against them because they look so good right now. They are our team. Give me the Colts. He was mic'd up. He never did that for us. That is insane to me, by the way.
He's also doing
insane.
He did do more interviews than people realize, but they were all like paid ones, like Kay Adams and JJ Jasemski. And now he's on everybody's podcast.
Yeah. Goes on the Manicast. Like, what's up, boys?
I love how we haven't said his name and everyone knows what we're talking about. Like, it's just him.
It's Baltimore.
Grump, who do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Colts on this one. It's tough though.
Danny, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Chargers. I think they need to get the win. I'll be rooting for the Colts a little bit in the playoffs.
Like, I 100% am. 100%. I'll openly root for them.
Commanders act, and if Jackson Dart's good, then it doesn't make it annoying if he's good. Yeah. It's just like, hey, man, off to better things. Good for you. Commanders at Cowboys +2.5. I think the Commanders get back on track. The Cowboys defense is really bad. I'm going Commanders minus 2.5. Listeners agree. Grump, do you agree?
I agree. Commanders as the coaching gives them the edge in this one. I like Dan Quinn as a coach. I like Cliff Kingsbury better. I don't know what the hell the Cowboys are doing at coach, and I don't know what they're doing at coach next year. I don't know if these guys even survive.
Daniel?
Yeah, the Cowboys defense is just terrible, so I'll rock with Commanders based on that fact alone.
All right, we got Falcons at 49ers minus 2.5. I'm just gonna go. I know the 49ers are freaking rolling with Mac Jones and stuff, but I'm gonna go Falcons on this one. That run game's really good. Their defense is really good. So I'm gonna go with my boy Michael Penix and Falcons plus 2.5. Listeners agree with me, Danny.
Yeah, I think they're just gonna hit a wall this week. The Niners, like I said, Falcons running game's good. I just mess with them, so I'll also be rocking with the Falcons.
It's just so many injuries for the 49ers.
That's the other thing. Fred Warner went down last week. It's brutal.
Grump.
Somebody tweeted out a picture of like of a hat with like the Niners logo on it, but instead of the SF, it's just a handicap logo. I'm going Falcons on this one.
A lot of clean sweeps this week.
Yeah, that's what scares me. We might get.
We might all. I mean, then no one moves in the rankings.
Yeah, that's true. If we either sink as one or we rise as one.
So like 4 out of 7 right now of the clean. The last one won't because me and the listeners disagree, but 4 out of 8 are clean sweeps. And with us, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 clean sweeps out of the 3 of us. Bucks at Lions minus 5.5. I mean, I know the Lions are coming off a loss and they're pissed off. As much as it's like, oh, it's dumb, but I was like, it was really cool to see Brian Branch just make Juju Smith-Schuster cry and bleed. I'm going Bucks plus 5.5. These teams have played each other a lot, and the Bucks have won this matchup, and they've done good in this matchup. I'm going Bucks. Listeners are going Lions. Danny, who you got?
Last time we should ever see a doubleheader Monday Night Football game. Thank God.
So it's so unbelievable. I feel like these people have always been greedy. I feel like the greed in the NFL right now is like they are getting ready. Like we're going to be
Christmas Day, everything, man. It's
playing in Saudi Arabia in like 2 years, right?
100%, 1,000,000%.
It's just like I understand wanting growth and stuff, but it's unbelievable the amount of just like sucking every penny out of everything they can get. Like I never hate I kind of like the week 2 doubleheader Monday Night Football. It's a one-off. This is like the 4th time that they've done it this year. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's horrible.
So who did you pick, Danny?
I would give it a pick. Revenge game, 2024 playoffs. Lions won, but this week it will be the Buccaneers because Baker Mayfield is maybe the NFL MVP right now. So it'll be Baker and the Bucs.
How about that, Grump? Wasn't Tez Johnson was a great interview, his like whole MVP thing. He was one of our best interviews in Mobile. Who do you got?
He was a lot of fun. Juju Smith-Schuster gets beat up a lot.
I remember the logo dancing thing he did in the 2020. That was
that's what I was just trying to look up. Who was that?
I think
perfect.
it
was perfect.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, I mean, usually there's a common denominator, and I live by the theory of Occam's razor. So usually when you get your ass kicked a lot, you kind of deserve it. Not excusing Brian Branch. I'm going Bucks.
So that's 6 out of 8 that all 3 of us picked the same team. All right. Danny, what is your score prediction for New York Giants at Denver Broncos?
I get vibes are high, and it was a good win last week, but I need to see it again. We saw them beat the Chargers. They laid an egg against the Saints. Let's not do that in going off another win. But I will be on the Broncos. I think, like I mentioned, the Demaryius Thomas thing, that's going to be a big day for Denver. I think they'll win for him. The Broncos win 28 to the Giants 14.
Grump?
I was at the game in 2017. They had no business winning, and I had already booked my flight. I had already gotten the tickets, and I was like, I guess I'm just going to go and get drunk and have a really good time. And I did. I did go. I did get drunk. I had a really good time, and they won. Came out of nowhere and won. I think that good things can happen at Mile High. I think that
That
the
is true.
Giants come away with a game-winning long field goal. Maybe not long, but a game-winning field goal, 24-23
Oh
over
my
the Broncos.
gosh, you got me nervous thinking about Drew McIntyre has not been in any high
No.
leverage situation yet. Oh no.
I will shit myself. I will shit myself.
But I think it's gonna be a game ender kick. You know what I mean? Clock runs out. Maybe from like the 30 to 40 range. Where it's not a chip shot, but you're like, oh man, you can make this. Come on, man. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking 24-23 Giants.
All right. There's something about what's going on right now. Play with an edge. Like culture of violence. Bring it back. Every play. Like give the extra push. Hit them. Go hard. Every single play, right? Play with that edge. At every single play, we are looking to bring violence. Andrew Thomas, dominate your matchup. Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, dominate your matchup. Dexter Lawrence, dominate your matchup. Jackson Dart, show up in the moment and have yourself a nice, beautiful game. Cement yourself. Cement it. And let's go. Giants 77, Broncos 0. We will see you Sunday night. Let's have a victory pod. Let's have some fun. We will see you guys then. Until then, let's go Big Blue.